Welcome to the Landco podcast, where we aim to bring value to landowners and prospective land buyers through our experiences and network. I'm your host and managing partner of Landco, John O'Reilly. Hey guys, welcome back to the Landco podcast, the year-round whitetail hunter, and we are recording in June now, but we're talking about May, so episode 5 here with Matt Lynch, and missing Pudic this episode. We might catch up with him either later tonight or soon and kind of combine them like we did last episode. If not, no big deal. Matt and I will handle this, and hopefully he'll hop back on next month. And I kind of know what he's got going on, so I can chime in a little bit about what he's doing as well. But again, on the whitetail side of things, I'm just kind of moderating for Matt and Ryan because that's more their world than mine. So, Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Hop
in, man, and give us the rundown. I know we've chatted a little bit, and again, we're in the middle of June right now.
And we can all the way back to the beginning of the month and thinking about everything that we got done there. I should really be writing these things down.
I know. That's why I say, we need to do them right away. But this month, being June, is super busy. The weather is great. Right. We're just jam-packed. So that's why we're a little late. So next episode should be good. This episode will be a lot of, I'll talk to Matt, but in the waterfowl world, it's a lot of planning because we got so much rain. But did you get anything done in May, or was it just kind of sitting around watching it rain?
No, we were able to capitalize on a couple of good days that were out there. We were able to get our grains in the ground on the farms where we've got them. We got our corn planted, and it seems to be taking off really well. So I think we just found that perfect window of opportunity and got that handled. So that was a plus.
When was that? Is that early June?
That would have been
early May.
That would have been May. It would have been in early May that we got that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was kind of surprised. I think just like I said, had a few dry days in there and took advantage of it, and it timed out right with the rain coming in afterwards.
Well, that's good. A lot of why Pudic's not on here is because a lot of the stuff that he planted. Same for our waterfowl plots. We got in early May, but by the end of May, they were no good. So replanting.
Not just him, a lot of farmers. I'm out at the farm right now, and the farmer across the road has been out twice in the last couple of weeks re-drilling beans that have flooded out in a couple areas. So,
yeah, but all your food plot grains are fine.
Everything seems to be good. Yeah, those fields are tiled really well. We've got good drainage and everything. So, our grain fields are good.
Okay, so got all those in. Planted, fertilized, all that, and they're good to go for a while?
All good. And then, so our grain fields are taken care of. We got one more mowing done on some clover plots just for weed control. Our clover's at a point now in our fields that we have set up with that it's coming in lush enough to where I don't have to worry about the weeds or grasses anymore. It's lush, beautiful clover in those fields, so we're good there. So feel confident we won't have to do any more maintenance on those really. And then to our green plots, we will go in end of probably the beginning of August and spray and, kill some of those fields off and get them disked up to replant. So right now, in terms of those fields, we're just going through and sorry, I'm slapping myself silly. The bugs are really bad here. But
so you got the garage door open.
Right, yeah. Got the big garage door open, so I'm just getting bombarded with bugs here. But no, our green fields right now, we're just keeping them mowed down really low so that when it does come time to spray and kill them off, we're not fighting, 4-foot tall weeds.
Yeah. So let's go back for a second to the plots that you already have in. You just keep those mowed, and I kind of know, but just for the kind of sake of the audience, you'll keep those mowed, all early spring, early summer, just to keep the weed competition down?
Yeah, I like to keep them mowed down for a few reasons. It's one, so that when it does come time to spray and disc, we're not mowing down 4 or 5 foot tall weeds and grasses through there. It's, it's manageable because we're mowing every other, probably every 2 weeks, just to keep them low. And But you know what? There's also some good food in there for the deer right now. So, and deer tend to, as soon as you do a mowing on a plot, it's that fresh cut. Just like when you're doing alfalfa, they go in there and they're all over it. So we like to, make sure we're giving the deer, easy access to food at this point.
Right.
It's a lot easier for them to be eaten in a mowed field than it is, super tall grasses and weeds. And, there is some good stuff growing up through there, but it's a lot easier for them to get through there and eat when it's not so thick and, 4 or 5 feet tall.
And for the most part, when you get this late in the season, that clover is just what kind of taking over, so kind of chokes everything else out.
Yeah, our clover fields right now, it comes in so thick, lush. It chokes out the weeds, chokes out the grasses. We've pampered those fields for the last couple of years. Got them in at the right time. The rains have been good, and the right kind of fertilizer on them when we got them established. And now it's just thick, lush clover fields. There's no weed or grass competition in there. It's so they're great plots. They're going to be really good come early season through the rut, having that green there.
You don't have to spray any of those at all, or you just find if you mow them enough that kind of takes care of that?
In the early, after we first got them planted, I did go through and I put I put a fertilizer on them, a low nitrogen fertilizer on them, just because I didn't want to feed the weeds, just to get them established, help the clover to grow, and help choke the weeds out. But it's kind of a balance of fertilizing and mowing, and now it's just, maybe a mowing once or twice a year to make sure that they're growing in thick, but it's pretty low maintenance at this point now that they're established.
Okay. And those plots that you're mowing, are you talking about, is that the same area that we talked about last month? It's on the, at least on the Fairview farm, the east side up there?
Yes. So we've got plots on our north and east end that are not just clover. They're going to be, brassica, turnip, radish, beets, kind of plots. So we're just keeping those mowed down low right now. Come August, we'll go and spray. We'll spray those down, kill everything off, disc it all up, till it, make sure that it's nice powdered soil. Go through and plant our mix towards the end of August. If we can get in around that, as long as it's before Labor Day, I feel good about it. If we can get it in that last week of August, it's usually times out pretty right. Come October 1st, it's a beautiful food plot.
Say that timeline again. You were cutting up a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. So keep them mowed down now, maintained. Beginning of August, we'll probably go in and kill those plots off, make sure everything's dead. Then we'll go in and disc and work those fields up, get them nice and, powdered kind of soil. Everything's good. Then we'll go in and try and get those planted like the last week of August. I like to have it done before Labor Day, but if we can time it out right, towards, anywhere between like the 18th to the 24th of August, I kind of like to be in that window, and hopefully get a couple, time it out with the rain. That's the best thing. If we can get in right before a rain and get that seed established in there, it's perfect. That come October 1st, it's perfect. I mean, you saw the plot that Dad killed his big one in. That's, planted around that same time. Got a little bit of high nitrogen fertilizer on it right before a rain, and I mean, that plot was beautiful.
And so I'm going to put you on the spot here. I don't think we've talked about this.
Yeah, man.
Because literally every 3 or 4 years, I feel like green plot, I call them green plots. Sometimes it used to be pure, a biologic, and then it was clover mix, and it was a deadly dozen. And every couple of years, I feel like there's a different mix, and everyone loves. What was the mix last year?
Sure. So everybody was big on the biologic, and biologic is, a brand.
Yeah.
From Mossy Oak, and I've got nothing against those guys, but we've had such good luck for the last, I'm trying to remember how many years it goes back now we've been doing it, but at least 4 or 5 years we've been planting our seed mixes from Horny Buck Seed Company out of northern Wisconsin. It's, and it's not just because they're great people to work with, and we get great results year after year. It's, if you're not able to take the care that a lot of people do on their food plots, careful fertilizing and making sure everything's planted right. you're still going to have success in some way, shape. You're still going to have some great food grow up in there, just because that stuff will grow anywhere. I mean, you can drop it. We've dropped it in the gravel before as we're putting it in cedar, and you have, turnips growing up out of the rocks. It's a very fresh seed. It's very hardy, and it's always done well for us. I've got no complaints about them whatsoever. They take care of us up there year after year, and we have great results. So I don't fix a problem if it's not. I don't fix it unless it's a problem, and we haven't had a problem at all.
Is that the same company or brand that Putic uses, or is he on someone else right now?
I'm not sure actually what Putic. I know Putic has used a place out of Iowa.
That's right.
I forget the name of him, but he's done good. But you know what? With all the acreages that we have to plant, we can only do so much ourselves. I've got kids. My brother's got kids. And got work stretched thin. Putic's planted a couple of fields for us on our farms, and he even said it himself this last year. He's like, I don't know if I've had a food plot look this good before. As on one of our Fulton County farms that he planted for us. I mean, that's not any special kind of dirt that we have. It's old pasture ground that we started working up several years ago, and just year after year, those fields always just turn out about as good as you can get them.
So is the mix the same as you planted down on the plot, that bottom plot where your old man killed that deer, or is it a different mix?
There's several varieties. I try to plant different mixes according to different times of the year and where I plan on hunt. Like if I'm going to hunt a certain field more late season, I tend to plant more heavy on like the brassicas that I know are going to turn sweet after the first frost and be better that time of year, as opposed to the mixes that have, clover, alfalfa, and some chicory, and a couple of, like forage greens in there, kale and stuff like that. I tend to plant those in fields that I may hunt more early season or during the rut.
Got it. So you have that stuff kind of planned out. Here's where I think they are early. Here's where I think where they're at late. And I'm going to plant these because of that, right?
Exactly. And I also have to think of it, for after the season's over with. Those fields that, I want to plant the food that's going to last through the winter. I also want to put those in a location where there's going to be very minimal human pressure, far away from humans, because after the season's over with, those deer are under enough stress already. I want to put plenty of food out there for them, and I want to put it in a place far away from where humans are going to be. So,
right. So what's at Fairview? You guys are mostly grain plots, right? You don't have much grain at that farm, do you?
Yeah, you know what? The deer density out here is pretty high, and our food plots are kind of on that borderline of size to where I don't know how well. We've not tried planting grains out here just because I worried it's going to be a lost cause. I think they're going to get mowed down too early, and it's not going to be that great of a plot for the long haul. So, we plant greens every year, different varieties, and it's provided food all the way through March, till when spring hits. And usually there's some green stuff starting to pop back up that time anyway. So we really don't have a lag in food for them out here.
Yeah. We always say the same thing. The plots that we plant, Putic and I, we've always said in areas like that where the deer density is off the charts, which is honestly probably most of the areas that we serve for the most part. If it's not like 2 or 3 acres, we just don't recommend it. And sometimes when the deer are crazy, we say 5. We try to do we don't mention clients.
For sure, man. I like to err on the side of caution. I'd even go higher than that because, out at one of our Fulton County farms, we've got a field that's probably pushing, 6 acres.
Yeah.
And we planted beans in it 3 years in a row, and every single year they were mowed down. Immediately. It just didn't take because of the deer density out there. So, unless they butt up to some really big ag fields where there's plenty of food over there and they don't need them necessarily.
Yeah.
I kind of like to steer clear of those really small, grain fields that are,
it's
3
that's
acres.
good information. That's good information to have because a lot of people, 4 or 5 acres doesn't seem small, seems huge. And we planted those. We had a few this year that literally they just mow down. And a few spots that we've done in the past, we've put those cages. If you did those monitoring cages where you just put a little, 9-foot cage up, and it's incredible. Like we did some back in the day when the forage beans were popular. They were growing out the top, literally 5 foot tall. Everywhere else, it looks like they didn't grow.
Yeah.
So if somebody plants that stuff and you're thinking your beans aren't growing there, it literally might be the pressure's too strong. Throw a cage out there.
That's most likely the case for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I've got nothing against if somebody's got a 2 or 3 acre field if they want to try planting grains. Even if their deer density is high, just look at where the location of your food plot is. Like out, even if our deer density wasn't as high, the location of our food plots on a lot of our farm is not far from deer bedding areas.
Yeah.
Which gives them easy access to that food, which is probably they're getting mowed down. If somebody's got a 2 or 3 acre field that's farther away from the deer bedding, it's more of a destination plot that's more wide open. Sure, go ahead and try it. It may work out just fine.
Or what else sometimes works is when it's not necessarily a plot to begin with. Like if the farmer has a 30 acre field and you say, you know what, leave me up 2 acres. By the time they leave those couple acres, it's fine because they've had that whole field that all season. So when they leave up 2 or 3 acres, there's still some food at least for the short term. And they don't, they'll harvest those and. They always say early, but all farmers harvest late, October, November. So those work a little bit, but I'm with you. Anything small.
I absolutely think that case works. One of our farms, we don't own it. We lease it. It's mostly giant ag fields. We've had the farmer multiple years leave, a few acres here and a few acres there standing. And I mean, these are even end rows, but a few acres. And I mean, they're still into February. They're still standing food in there. It's great. Yep. I mean, it can work if there's plenty of food out there for them. I mean, it's just because it's standing doesn't mean that's going to be the first thing to go. I mean,
exactly. Okay, well, we can move on from that. So we covered your existing green plots. We covered the plots that you're going to plant come fall. Summer, I call them fall plots. Yep. I know Pudic is like. I think he ordered like 70 cutting link cameras or whatever. So he's in like trail cam mode, not putting them out, but he's getting them ready. Are you doing the same?
He went on a COVID-19 shopping spree for
cameras. He totally
did. Yeah, we've done some camera work in May for sure. Some of the cameras, some cameras I just leave up all year, depending on where they're at, because I don't want to go in and disturb those areas too much. So I might go in and change the batteries and make sure that everything's working good. Otherwise, on the other farms, I pulled the cameras out. We get them cleaned up, make sure the batteries are fresh and running good, new chips, and we'll put those back out. I usually like early July. I don't like to rush it to get back in there. There's lots of does that have just had fawns. They're hanging out in the timber too much. I don't like to disturb the woods right now all that much. So we'll kind of wait until things have settled down and the bucks have put on some more growth, and we'll get in there in July and put some more of those cameras out.
Right. Okay. Anything else? You're not building the weather, and well, I'm getting ahead of myself because so far the weather in June has been like awesome, like nice, mild. But going back, have you built any blinds, done any trail work, anything like that, or just gonna?
With all the rain and we had some wind come through in May, there's going to be the occasional tree or brush that falls over some paths that we've had cleared. So gone through and cleared that up. And usually if you go in late May, early June and make sure all your trails are mowed down really low, the canopy's covered up enough, it's going to be good for the rest of the year. So we only had to do a little bit of that in June, which we can talk about more on the next one. But I mean, as far as by the end of May, most of our trails were pretty well good to go for the year.
Nice. Okay. Well, cool. We're about almost 20 minutes in. Did I miss anything?
I'm trying to think, man. Just, talked about equipment. Our tractor's ready to go for when it comes time for that, but we're kind of just doing little putsy things with that, not getting into any more heavy duty work. So
I mean, keeping outside of food plots, still keeping like trails and all that stuff mowed, which is part of it, right? And you guys keeping up on that?
Yeah, our trail, like I said, once the canopy grows up and everything, we don't have to worry about too much new growth. Our trails are cleared. They're good.
Yeah, you guys have trails. You guys have trails out in the open that are just grass trails. Like these
I mean, there's they're still mowing just because Dad, in some areas likes to make it look more like a country club up by the farm here than he does like a farm. So there's always just general maintenance, to make things look nice. But yeah, we're good on food plots. Our cameras are good until we get some of those that we cleaned up back out here in July, and then I think we're kind of good.
Have you guys done anything to the apple trees? Prune them this year, or sprayed them, or just mowing around them?
Definitely keep them mowed around. We have gone in and done some spraying. If we've seen some, like some trees are concerned, but I mean, they're looking good, man. They've got some sprouts on them. We're seeing some apples start to pop. Our other fruit trees are blooming. My little boys have been out here where they're picking cherries off the tree every day. And
the orchard at Fairview is putting apples on already?
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, that was only 2 years ago, wasn't it?
2 years in. They're small. They're popping, man.
Who cares? We usually say 3. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they look great. So a couple more years. I'm trying to remember what we planted. There's apple trees. There's pears. I think there's plum, and I think we even put a couple of peaches in this year. So
we did too, and I think we also we staggered the. And for people wanting to do this, it's awesome. We find different varieties that stagger their maturity dates from I don't know what the first one. It's probably late August, maybe early September. But then so those are mature. Then we have another variety that matures in September, then October. So literally for 2-3 months, there's always an apple that's. And the deer know that stuff, man. They like to eat it exactly when it's mature. It's nuts. So that'll be a good spot.
It's going to be a great spot, man. Not just for the deer, but for family to be able to have that to go through. So
true story.
Very cool idea. It was cool getting to see that come to fruition. We still need to go out here and make that podcast of the befores and afters of this place.
I know.
There's more and more projects popping up around here. You'll have to see what's going on.
Well, we'll do it, and we just signed up another lake, another development road system through a property. And I think we'll get one more lake, but we'll be done in why do I say that? Hopefully we're done in late August with all that. So 3 months out?
Cool.
So
that's pretty quick.
September-ish, we'll do that. We like to slow down right before hunting season. So
yeah, that'll be that should match up pretty well with the time that it was listed on the market.
There you go.
We bought it, so it actually should time out pretty cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you joining us. Again, I will try to get Pudic on the line in the next few days. If it's not, if I can't, no big deal. We'll wrap it up. Do you have anything to add?
All good, man.
Well, you're frozen anyway. So, okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And we'll catch up. We'll catch up next month.